Hello, happy Monday. So today's video, I want to talk about overcoming fear of weight gain and how incredibly crucial it is that you do that if you want to fully recover. I've had some clients who will go through recovery and they'll get really, really far in their recovery and do 90% of the work. And life is feeling so much better for them. But they still have just a couple little restrictions and things they've kind of held back on that they haven't addressed, that they have avoided, that they just don't really want to have to address. And they still have that fear of weight gain. It's come down, to a point, but it's still there. Some of their choices are still being dictated by that fear of weight gain. And so I can't emphasize enough to you how incredibly important it is, again, that you overcome that fear of weight gain. So how do you do that? You do that by eliminating any and all restriction. And the way that I did that in my own recovery was I was as aggressive as I possibly could be. I use this analogy sometimes with when it comes to actually like tackling your eating disorder and kind of just getting started, or if you're kind of stuck, getting yourself unstuck. When I decided that I was going to do this on my own after being told by a dietitian that I couldn't, and I had this aha moment of, why can't I do this again on my own? And it was just years of conditioning and being told that I could never. And so I just believed that I couldn't. And then something inside of me that time when she said it, after I'd been told that many times, but for some reason that time when she said that, something clicked in my head. And it was just like, no one tells me what I can and can't do. Why can't I do this? This fear that I have is not actually tangible. It feels tangible sometimes, but it's not tangible. And there's no one in between me and doing what I know I need to do, which is eating and resting. And it was a really empowering moment for me when I decided that I was just going to go and get that pizza that I've always wanted to be able to have, that I'd always watched my family eat, and just eat it. And actually just recently last week, we went to that pizza place, and usually we'll go get pizza there, but we'll get it takeout just because it's easier with Hazel and stuff. But we just decided we want to eat it there that night. And so we went, and I showed my kids the table that I sat at and had my journal and wrote out all the things that I was going to promise that I did that very first day of recovery, that I was going to do throughout my recovery. And it was kind of cool because my kids are older now and they kind of get it. And I was like, this was the table, this was the seat. Like, I totally remember it. And so if you're listening to this and you're kind of feeling stuck, I would challenge you to go and get something. Go to a place that just terrifies you, as bold and as courageous as you possibly can be, and find your table, find your chair, whatever, wherever that's going to be. Take a journal and seriously write down your commitments. And then from that moment on, aggression, you're tackling it. I talk about, so this analogy I was talking about was like football players. My son used to play tackle football. And when he first started, he was really timid and he was just getting pummeled, like just pummeled. He knew he had to tackle, but he was really scared of getting hurt. And so he kind of just do weird things and like not really wrap his arms around the guys and tackle him down. And he was really scared of it. And we told him, if you don't run in aggressively, you're going to get hurt. People are going to tackle you and pummel you down to the ground. And so we had to keep reminding him that the more aggressive you are, the more chance you have of getting these guys down. And the more he did that, his confidence grew and he was more successful at tackling. And I think it's the same thing with the fear of weight gain. If you're tiptoeing around it and you're kind of like, I know I know this has to happen. I know I gotta eat unrestrictedly. I know, but, and you kind of keep pulling back, your eating disorder is going to pummel you. You don't stand a chance. If you go in like head first and you're just like, I'm just going to absolutely crush this and blow it out of the water, you'll be amazed at how your confidence soars and how empowering that will feel. And because it'll feel good, you'll have a ton of anxiety. Don't get me wrong. You'll have all these doubts and whatever, but because you just did it, that really, really aggressive, bold move, something inside you is going to kind of click. You'll feel some sense of empowerment and you'll want that again. So when I finished my pizza, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just ate that pizza. I ate it. I ordered it as it came. I didn't dab the grease off. I didn't pick it apart. I ate all the crust. Oh my gosh. And I was freaking out. But I thought, but what I really actually want is the dessert. Like, I actually want ice cream. And there's an ice cream parlor right next door. I walked over and I got that. And I was just like, I can't believe I just did this. I just ordered this ice cream after I just finished pizza. And I'm like, this must be what recovery is like. And then what did I do the next morning? And this is really where it's going to kind of, how you react to a big challenge like that is going to determine the trajectory of your recovery. And so after this big challenge thing I did, I remember thinking that next morning, You have a choice right now, Becky. You can wake up and think that was nuts what you did yesterday. Bad idea. Never do that again. That was terrifying. And if you do that, you know what's going to happen. So you get back on track. I could have done that. But instead, what I did was I got myself up and I drove myself to McDonald's and I got a McDonald's breakfast because I knew I couldn't trust myself at home to make something scary at that time in my recovery. So I drove myself to McDonald's. I sat in there in the McDonald's, got myself a bunch of different items from there, ate them all, and just thought, wow, it took me 20 years to finally get a feel for what recovery needs to feel like. And so I urge you, if you're kind of playing it safe, or if you're not giving it your all, or if you're not just doing these crazy, aggressive, just like absolutely, things that you never thought you could do and you're doing them, or you're not doing them, I challenge you to start doing them, because you've got to become completely okay with not being afraid of weight gain. And if you're restricting in any way, you're telling your brain that you still are, okay? Even if you're doing so much better, if there's still just a couple little niggly things, your brain is still afraid or getting the message that you should be afraid of weight gain. So that's why a lot of times towards those later stages in recovery, when those are the things you've really got to look at, where am I still restricting, people are really struggling with body image still, and they're surprised because it's like, I don't understand, like I've done everything I felt like I needed to do, and it's like, but there's probably a couple more things still there that you've got to unpack. So, and then just a quick story, this video is getting long, but if and when you overcome that fear of weight gain, you really will be able to be trigger proof. I had an experience earlier today where, and I'm very open about my history. Years and years ago, about 8 years ago, I got breast implants. I was still very much in my eating disorder, very much into how I looked, wanted to have this picture perfect body. And I thought, I'm super flat naturally, so I'm going to get these implants. So I got them in, and I'm contemplating or thinking about potentially getting them out sometime in the future. And it had been a while since I'd had them checked. So I went in, and the surgeon walks in and he goes, "Whoa, you gained a lot of weight," because I haven't seen him for 8 years, right? And I said, "Yeah, I have." And I said it proudly. I was like, "Yeah, I have." I said, "I was very, very unwell, like when you did my surgery." And he was like, "Oh, wow, man. Yeah, you were really fit then. And he just kind of kept going back to what I looked like before. And I was like, "Yeah, like I said, I recovered from an eating disorder, and I gained a lot of weight, and I ended up with a baby." And so I was kind of just like owning it. And I walked out of there just like thinking, I can't even imagine what that would have done to me in my disorder. Let's say if I was sort of trying to recover, but not really, and like had gained some weight, and someone said that to me, that would have been really, really hard for me to handle. But because I've overcome that fear of weight gain, he can tell me that, and I can be like, "Yeah, you're right, I did," like with pride. Yes, I did. I own that. I'm not afraid of that anymore. It's not a bad thing. And so I share that with you just because there is hope. And I was that person that I thought I feared it more than anybody ever out there. No, but you don't understand. Like for me, it's not okay. Like for me, that fear felt monumental. But somehow with perseverance and, like I said, being really, really bold, you can and you will overcome that fear. So that is it feels like this is a very long video because usually I try to keep them short, but that's my message to you today, and I hope you have a wonderful Monday. Bye.